sooner rather than later is what they want to do. Then it, of course, will be up to the Judicial Council to pick. If you remember the San Francisco dog mauling, they moved that to Los Angeles because they have to move it to a similar county. So where will this go if it does in fact go? But so far, I don't believe that motion will be granted either, because not enough has gone on in this case. But when it gets to jury trial, it's going to be up to the sheriffs in this county to make sure that jurors aren't intimidated, because if you have crowds outside and you have signs outside, that could be very intimidating to a jury. And that's one of the things that will have to be argued. It may not be going on now, but what will happen later if they don't do crowd control there, because you can't have jurors coming in that feel intimidated by people in the streets, so they have to be very careful with that too. It will be a tough decision, but right now I've got to think it will stay here, and I think this, in my opinion, if the facts come out right, it may end up at a second-degree murder. It's certainly not going to be a first-degree, because I don't think any of us believe that Officer Mehserle, in front of all those people, pulled his weapon out and with premeditation, willful and deliberately, with malice aforethought, shot at that time to kill. The jury won't believe that. They're not going to come anywhere near believing that. So that brings it down to the best it can be, and that would be a second-degree murder with wanton and willful disregard for human life. So the fight will be between a second-degree and a voluntary manslaughter. I don't see a jury walking him out. He's going to have to pay for what he did. But this is a what is it type case, not did he do it, clearly it happened, but it's a what is it.
And I missed the top of this, but you expect both sides to come out very strong here in this community.
Well, it's going to be interesting. Certainly the district attorney is going to have to come out strong. This case has gotten enough publicity that you want to put out the evidence that you have. As far as the defense goes, I know they are going to try to mitigate it from that murder range down to manslaughter with their witnesses. That's going to be a difficult task. I don't see that happening here, that it will be mitigated down, because the burden of proof is a reasonable suspicion. And that's not going to happen. Don Clay is a very, very good judge. He's been a prosecutor, he's been a defense attorney, and he's strong enough to make the right decisions. But keep in mind, it's just a reasonable suspicion. He will hold it to answer. What the defense is doing is really playing to the public in this case to tell them, see what we have. It is not what you think it is. So they want to put it out publicly so it's disseminated on the airways. Here's what we have. It's really not a second degree. They're not going to be successful here, in my opinion. I have been wrong before, but I don't see that happening here, that they can put on enough evidence to mitigate it into the manslaughter range. It should stay in the second, but enough evidence will be put on to affect the public. That's what they're hoping.
Okay, so this is pretty important for both sides here.
Oh, it's very important for both sides here. It's very, very important, because the district attorney wants to show the evidence that they have, that it is simply them not doing what most of the public wants, that they're succumbing to that political pressure, which they're not doing in this case. Clearly, the tape is enough to send this to a jury trial. The district attorney could simply put the tape on and go, there it is, Judge, look at that, and almost rest the case with that. But they will put on other witnesses. And as I've said earlier, in my opinion, the biggest thing that should come out is, did Mehserle ever say that I thought he was going for a gun? Because if he thought he was going for a gun, then the question becomes, did he have a right to go for his weapon? The district attorney will play that card, I believe, because then it flies in the face of, oh, I was really going for my taser, which seems to be the second story. Then he will play, the DA will play the first story off the second story and say, which is it? Now, whether he said that or not, I don't know, and that's why this preliminary hearing will be important to see, did he ever say, oh, I thought he was going for his gun, and that's why I pulled my gun out? Because that is in complete contradiction to what we are now hearing. Oh, I went for my taser and I made a mistake. Jury will have trouble with that. Go, wait a minute, Officer Mehserle, which story are we supposed to believe here? Which is it? Are you lying to us? You're lying to us in one or the other. So the DA will play that card very heavily, in my opinion, in trial, and that's why I would watch this preliminary hearing to see, are they going to put that evidence in? Did that happen? Because then you'll have two contradictory stories from Mehserle.
What are the odds you think that
I was going to say a lot of pressure for the DA. I mean,
Well, I mean, there's always pressure on both sides in this case.
but a lot of
It's
public pressure.
Well, of course there's a lot of public pressure, but remember, the district attorney has to be above that, and they are supposed to do justice, and justice doesn't mean convicting people. And I worked in this office for 12 years when Lowell Jensen was district attorney, and he always taught us, justice is what you do. Convictions is not what you're supposed to do. If that's justice, then you get that done. If it's not, you do what's right. And this county has done that, and that's why they have to stay out of the political arena and make decision on what's right. And that sort of, I personally, I think district attorneys' offices have become much too political. When I was a DA, you'd have district attorneys that remained in office forever. Nobody ran against DAs.
Filing a motion to have the district attorney removed?
I'm not filing any motion. It's not my case. No.
What are your odds of a change of venue?
Change of venue is going to depend on what goes on in this case. I mean, what's going to happen from here on. So far, I don't think it's going to
change of venue, or do you
No.
think they want to keep it here?
Prosecutors want to keep this case here. They're going to have a better jury panel here. People that have seen, some people that have seen the police act out. You'll get politically more diverse people. If you go to a more conservative county, it bodes well for
How soon do you think
measurably.
it'll last for the change of venue?
That's up to the defense. They can do that at any time, but I can almost guarantee if the public acts out, if there are riots, that's when they'll act for it. And that's why I don't understand why we have the riots and why people act out, because they're acting in direct contradiction to what they want. If they were smart, they'd back off the pedal, not do anything, and let the criminal justice system work out. As I said, one time they're going to get hoisted on their own petard. You go out, you riot, you cause trouble, they're going to know. No, I understand not everybody, but enough people have done that it could affect a change of venue.
And why do you think it's going to be a 2-week prelim instead of 1
No,
day?
it will not be 2 weeks. I don't. That's not going to happen.
You think it'll be able to wrap up today or tomorrow?
Oh, no. It'll be probably 4 or 5 days would be my guess.
Where does it go after it gets bound over?
It will then go for another arraignment, and it'll be set for a trial or for motions. One of those motions will be a change of venue motion, I would think.
Is the next court date set?
I don't know. I have no idea.
Thanks so much.
Okay.